All right, folks. Thanks for checking out the video. I wanted to talk today about some comments made by comedian George Lopez during his recent appearance on The View. So, from Entertainment Weekly here, it says George Lopez slams anti drag queen bigotry. If you're an enemy of drag, you're an enemy of mine. The sitcom star and stand up comedian defended drag performers as the art form becomes a target for conservative politicians. So it says here sitcom star and comedy legend George Lopez doesn't want anyone to get away with dragging drag performers. Appearing on Thursday's episode of The View, the 61-year-old Lopez versus Lopez star slammed anti-drag bigotry after co-host Anna Navarro made a joke about Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, who signed the controversial Parental Rights and Education Bill, also known as the Don't Say Gay Bill, in early 2022, amid a rise in discrimination against drag performers around the country. Now, that bill was so controversial that he went on to be reelected by a landslide margin. But we'll leave that aside for now. If you're an enemy of drag, you're an enemy of mine, Lopez said as the in studio audience applauded. I'm sure they did. Lopez's words came after an earlier segment on The View that saw Navarro and co host Sarah Haynes showing support for drag artists after Joy Behar asked the panel to discuss embattled conservative Congressman George Santos' alleged past as a drag queen in Brazil named Kitara Ravache, a claim Santos, the first openly gay Republican to win a House seat, has denied. Now, George Lopez is past his prime. At one time, he was a decent comedian. He had a decent sitcom at one point, but you see him here. He's, like I said, he's past his prime. Um, he's actually a bottom of the barrel human being, if you want to know the truth. He's a guy that cheated on his wife. Okay. Now that's bad enough. Okay. Not only did he cheat on his wife, but he cheated on his wife who donated a kidney to him to help save his life after he suffered from kidney failure back in the mid 2000s. So, this is not somebody that should be taken seriously at any point. He's a guy that made his name doing comedy from his supposedly working class Hispanic roots in LA. But at this point, George Lopez has more in common with his woke white Hollywood buddies than he does, the working class Hispanics of LA and other parts of California. He's just not that guy anymore and hasn't been for quite a long time. George Lopez, he did a lot of jokes, during a lot of his stand up shows, imitating white people, and they were funny. Look, they were funny, but he now basically is that guy. He is that guy. He's not that funny guy from the barrio, right? He's basically a woke white Hollywood elite. That's what George Lopez is. And it's really sad to see him at this point. Now, I don't know if it's because he's past his prime, so he has to suck up to these people in order to get work, in order to make a living now. I'm sure after he got divorced, he probably lost a lot of what he had accumulated in terms of wealth at that point. So at this point, he has to do what he has to do to make a living. So it's very very sad to see him at this point. If you want to take a look at some really truly funny Hispanic comedians, I would recommend Paul Rodriguez, Gabriel Iglesias, Steve Trevino. He's a funny guy. But yeah, George Lopez at this point, he's a hack, he's a has-been, and he's just sucking up to his Hollywood elite buddies to try to get work. So let me know what you all think. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.